Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 3 of our class. Can you believe we're already a third of the way done? So, this week, actually, before I even tell you about this week, I want to alert you to a couple things. One, I've only heard from a couple of people with regard to our synchronous meetup. So, I'm going to let it simmer for a few more days. If I hear from 2 or 3 more people, I'm going to go ahead and schedule something for, I think, Sundays at around 7 o'clock. If I don't hear from any more people, the people that I have heard from, you are certainly welcome to meet with me anytime. But apparently people just don't have the time to fit into their schedules for a synchronous meetup. So again, I will send out an announcement middle of this week with regard to if we're going to move forward with that or not. So thanks to the couple of you that have responded. And again, 2 or 3 more people, if you're interested, let me know and we will move forward. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that for this week, I'm actually going to be out of town on Sunday. So, whereas I would usually do all my grading on Sunday and give you my feedback, you're probably going to get your work back on Monday or Tuesday. As you've probably figured out, if you turn work in early, I tend to try to give you feedback early. And then I try to get everything graded on Sundays. But again, this week that won't be happening, but you should get things back on Monday or Tuesday. So for this week, let's move on to week 3. For this week, we're going to be talking about specific learning disabilities, visual impairments, hearing impairments, deaf blindness, and speech and language impairments. So you have a good amount of material to read, watch, and explore. There's going to be stuff to read about inclusion this week. And I know that there are quite a few of you that mentioned in your introductions about your strong feelings about inclusion, and I'm right there with you. Decline a call. Sorry about that. There's also going to be videos for you to watch. There's a great one by Dan Habib. He did movies, full-length features, documentaries about his son Sam, who is differently abled. There's also videos about deaf and hard of hearing students, visually impaired students, and learning disabilities, which is the most commonly identified disability. And then if you have the supplemental text, I give you the chapters that you may choose to read, and also some additional information about what a speech impairment is. And I say this knowing that there is a difference between a language impairment and a speech impairment. So you may want to take a look at that additional information that's in your read, watch, and learn materials. For this week, our discussion is going to center around a couple of simulators. So you're going to the extent that you really can try on a disability, you're going to use a simulator that helps you get an idea of what it's like to have dyslexia, and another simulator about what it may feel like to have an auditory processing disorder. You're going to try on these disabilities and then talk a little bit about how you think having those kinds of specific disabilities could impact a child's social and emotional development, what it's like to have an invisible disability. So sometimes you see someone in a wheelchair or using crutches, you know they have a disability. Or you see them with, a white cane. There's lots of reasons that make it very visible. But there are other disabilities that can be very invisible. Sometimes a person with autism, it could be considered a very invisible disability. Somebody with a learning disability, it would be an invisible disability. So think about the implications of people not being able to readily identify someone with a disability. And then I want you to be able to take what you've learned with this week's reading materials and really think about it in the context of these disabilities and trying on these disabilities. I loved your video responses to the prompt. Try and post them in line if you could. I think it makes it easier for people to access them. But in general, just keep doing what you're doing with the discussions. You have been wonderful responding to one another. The only comment I would make is try to respond throughout the week instead of waiting for Saturday, because it makes it really hard for your classmates to have time to think and respond to you when everybody posts everything at once on Saturday. Enough said. Our assignment this week is going to be about talking about a presentation or a paper for families and general education teachers about inclusion. Why is it important? Why should we have inclusion in inclusive environments? Why should we value them? And then I want you to discuss how you would propose including a child with, in this case, a significant physical disability, and thinking about the difference between a child that is just in a general education classroom, they have access, but is not meaningfully included. What does that look like? What does that mean? Also think about adult supports. I think that there is a tendency for us to sometimes over support children, and what over supporting a child, what the outcomes could be. What could be the possible impacts for a child in the long and the short term when they have too much on that continuum of adult support, and how other supports could be put in place instead of always having an adult right next to a child. And I want you to be able to incorporate your learning from this week and your own research into your thinking about inclusion. The other option you can have is you can create a poster or a handout for families using those same criteria. Make sure that no matter what you do, that you provide resources, and for each resource that you note in your bibliography, that you have at least one in-text citation, so I know what information you've gotten from that resource. As always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I will get back to you typically within a couple hours. If not, as I've said before, within 24 hours. And if you don't hear back from me, make sure you send me another email just to make sure that I've gotten your message. Take care. Enjoy your wonderful beginning of spring. I'm looking out my nice, bright, sunny window right now, and I will see you soon. Take care.